Hi, I'm Michael and I'm a teacher of the Alexander Technique. A lot of people seem to think that Alexander Technique is about posture. How can I stand up more straight? How can I be more graceful in how I move? It's often used by actors and musicians and sports people. That's great and it definitely does help with posture, but it's not, for me, the core of what this technique is about. What it's really about is playing with your own subjective experience of awareness. That will sound a bit strange, but let me explain a little bit. The key thing I want to communicate in this video is the idea that awareness can expand and contract. And a lot of the time, we spend our time in contracted awareness. So for example, even now, you're watching me on a screen. I'm going to assume that your tendency is for you to really focus on me on the screen and close off your awareness of the world around you. Are you noticing what else is happening in the room around you? Are you aware of the feeling of pressure in your feet or against the chair? I don't know, but that's the kind of awareness we're talking about, where it can expand to fill the room around you while you're still looking at me, or it can contract down into a very small space. What Alexander Technique teaches is how to keep your awareness expanded, even in the context of triggers that would otherwise compress it down. A classic example is going from a standing position to a sitting position. Let's say I get you nicely aware of the world, there's a lot of space around you, it's very nice. As soon as I ask you to sit down, your habits will kick in and your awareness will contract down to a much smaller space. You'll kind of check out of the world in a way. You'll go into autopilot and it won't finish until you've sat down. And when you sat down, you kind of wake up again, like, oh, look, I'm sat down. But how you got there is a little bit unknown to you. It's habitual. So keeping that awareness expanded during that activity is a way that allows change to happen. And I won't go into the rest of that now. What I do want to talk about is how to use this concept of expanded awareness to deal with chronic pain. So a few months ago, I was working in a workshop with some sufferers of ankylosing spondylitis, which is a degenerative arthritic condition that causes the vertebrae to fuse. It causes a lot of chronic pain, and there's no known cure apart from management of the pain. I tried this experiment with a lot of people, and most of them reported success with it, with respect to making their pain seem a little less bad. This won't necessarily make pain go away, but it will change your relationship with the pain. So pain is an interesting thing because it's something that demands our attention. It says, hey, I'm here, look at me. And that's fine in many cases where pain reveals something that needs intervention. But in the case of chronic pain, it's just going to be annoying because, yes, I know it's painful and there's something I can do about it. Please leave me alone. I can't fix this just by attending to you. So in the same way as when we sit down and our awareness might contract, pain is a very, very good way of causing our awareness to do things we don't want it to do. So let's say I have a pain in my wrist. The chronic pain there is going to grab my attention, it's going to grab my awareness. And my awareness will shrink down to the size of the pain. I won't know about the feeling of the pressure of the floor of my feet. I won't know about the sound of the birds out the window because my awareness is like so much focused on my wrist. So using expanded awareness is a way to make the pain seem a little less bad. So rather than going into it, when you have the trigger of that pain, you can send your awareness back out again. Make it as big, as 3D as you can, in all directions. So, okay, there's pain, and there's the sound of birds outside my window, and there's a car and a woman walking along there, and there's a feeling of the pressure of my feet on the floor, and I can feel myself breathing, and blah, blah, blah. This wide open 3D space is potentially very, very large. I mean, you can play with this yourself. You can say, okay, it's now reaching to the moon or whatever else. It's a good way of engaging that kind of being. The trick to this is that while your awareness can expand and contract in this way, the magnitude of the pain, let's say in my wrist, is basically fixed. So as my awareness gets bigger, the proportion of the total space that is the pain gets smaller. So rather than it being 90% of a very small space where everything is just, oh, I'm focusing on my wrist, oh, this really hurts, you can go, oh, okay, well, look, my wrist hurts in the context of this wider space. The second order benefit of this is that often when we do focus our awareness on something like pain, we often make it worse. So when I narrow my awareness on something, let's say even on the camera now, I'm narrowing the space between the phone and me. I'm closing off to the world around me, and I can already feel my body has a pattern of tension in it. I can feel my breathing tighten up. It's not nice, honestly, but this is how most people spend most of their lives. So you can catch this in yourself, even right now. Are you really focused on me? Or can you let me be where I am in the context of the space around you? That's what I'm talking about here. So if you have chronic pain and you're really getting involved in that pain through focusing on it so much, you can make it worse. You can bring in patterns of muscular tension. You can start doing things to yourself that aren't necessarily sensible, that your body will respond to and probably make the pain worse than it was. So this way of expanding your awareness out is, in other words, a way of leaving your body alone. So if you're interested in the world, sure, I can feel my foot on the floor, but it feels quite a long way away, and I'm not involving myself in the experience of my foot being on the floor. So in this way, we can really start to play with our experience of not only ourselves in the world, but the world itself, and start to integrate these things together. So I hope that's helpful. Like I said, this is my first time doing this. Actually, did I say this in the recording? I don't know. It's my first time doing this. Please let me know if it's helpful. And I recognize that this can be quite a confusing thing to go into. If I were with you in a teaching context, I would be giving you this expanded awareness experience through touch. I can't do that here, so I'm doing it on video. So if this is of interest, please let me know. I'm happy to explain further or even do more of these in the future. Thanks.